Welcome back to this YouTube tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you about working circle, which I created. What you saw at the entrance of the tutorial. We're going to create this character. Mind you, I'm going to show you the step involved in creating such character. So follow me as I take you through the step. The first thing we have to do, right, is to create your character, which we have already done. You can check out on how to create a customized character from our previous post. You can check on how to create a customized character from that. And after creating your characters through your layers, you bind them to bones. As you can see, each layers are being binded to bone, either through point layer or point binding or a layer binding. That's how we do binding. As for this feat of this character, is be binded with point binding and layer point binding. The first bone here is binded to this point. The second bone is binded to this down feet point, which making the feet to be flexible. If you are looking for how to make a feet flexible, I guess that's the right path to go through it to make those feet flexible, right? So I can show you a quick one on how to create a point binding. So what we are going to do, right, is to create a vector layer. Let's create a vector layer from this point. Let's create a vector layer for use of only one shape since we are doing point binding. So let's make use of only one shape of the character. So what we are going to do, add more points. Tap letter A, add more point to this, add more point to this, add more point. After I finish creating, I'm going to show you point binding. Either I use point binding or layer binding. I'm going to show you how to apply those two at this point. This is what you have to do. You create a bone for such character just for educational purpose. That's why I'm doing this. Create a bone for that character, then add your bone to this. We had this, or the bones, the formation of the bones are already red, so it will be obvious. So we're going to change the color of this to blue so that it will be obvious. Okay, from your screen now you can see that there are two bones right now. So how am I going to bind this to a point? So what I'm going to do right now, let's reduce the strength for educational purpose. Let's reduce the strength to 0. By reducing the strength to 0, so the first thing to do right now is to bind this to a point. So I guess this thing is being parented. Okay, let's click on this. From your screen, from the left corner of your screen, you can see the bone, while the Victoria bones, while the layer binding layers, while the point bind point. So we're going to bind the first bone to this 4.1 to 34. We're going to bind the second bone to this second bone to this second point 1 to 34. So let me show you how I'm going to do. The first thing you have to do is to select the bone. You click on point binding. My own is on lasso mode. You circle it. There's also one point left. You circle it. Then you click on this bind point. This 4 point is already binded to that bone. So what I will do for the second one, mind you, we are doing bind point. So we'll come back to the second one. We'll select this bone, then bind point. You'll take that one. So this is what I'm going to do, bind point. So the first point, the first bone is binding to this, the right side, while the left bone is binding to the left side of it. So let's see if it's actually effective. You can see, because it's binding to that point. That is for point binding. So let me show you how to apply layer binding. So first we have to deactivate this point binding. So we are done with our bind point. So the next one I'm going to show you is how to bind the layer. So we click on this bone, just one bone. That's what we need in binding layers. We click on this layer bind, we click on that bone is out. So what we are going to do is to click on this character here. We'll select this layer. You'll see a point binding, which is this one. Unbind point. Just unbind the point. Make sure you unbind point before you do layer binding. In case is on a point binding, so we're going to bind this layer to this bone. So what we're going to do is bind layer. We'll click on this. It has already binded to that bone. So let's see the difference. You can see there's no flexibility on layer binding. It only have to do with point binding. So let's go back to our tutorial from beginning, how to do the working circle. So let's delete this. Okay, let's go back to our tutorial. Please, if you have not subscribed, do well to subscribe. So we are going to create this character right now, this working circle. You can see there's a full character design. I created this here. If you want me to show you on how to create the ball, working of the ball and everything, I will do it. As you can see, there's a stretch and squelch principle applied at this point. If you want a full complete tutorial on how to do this and the file, just comment on the channel that you need a complete tutorial, which I'll be gladly respond to it. So the first thing to do, let's delete all we have created for this. Let's delete it. Let me explain each of these keys to you before I delete it, so that you know what it all stands for. From the right hand side, you will see this, what I just highlighted is a circle, which means a repetition of a movement. We normally use this when we want things to repeat. Just watch, after I finish creating the initial point, it started repeating itself, whereby we just move the layer straight forward. We animate only the layer, but for we to get the perfect rotation of this movement, we have to apply a circle to it. And to apply a circle to it, you just have to click on the last one. You click on circle, which has already been ticked. I can remove it to smooth. Okay, let me do it so that you see. Removing it to smooth, it doesn't repeat itself. But let's go back to circle. Taking it back to circle. Okay, absolute to 1. Okay, absolute to right, to 2. So let's see the difference. You see, it continues. Now the difference between a circle and a smooth, a linear keyframing. Okay, in creating this initial character, it's advisable for you to get a reference of whatever you want to do, because there are thousands of people who have done it. I've deleted the keyframes so far, and these are the results. There's nothing left, so we're going to animate from scratch on it. So the first thing you have to do is to create a contact. The contact has to start, the legs have to start with right and left. So mind you, if you want a full tutorial on how to bind this layer, please, on how to use bones, comment on the section that you want to learn it, because there are some things I did here, like for this, how to apply this to it. You see, these are targets. I created target point for this. I created target point for this. If you want to learn how to do this, just comment on it, so I will do a full tutorial on it. So you see, creating squash and squash on it too. So the first thing to do right now See the importance of the layer binder, point binder you see is flexible. The first thing to do is to create our first key point, which we are going to do. Okay, we're going to take this leg forward through this transform tool. Click on this, take this leg forward, take this leg backward, then the feet, increase the feet. That's the first key post. While your hand, mind you, if you are walking your hand, one hand is always front while the other is back, opposite in nation. Since this leg is at the front, which means this leg is at the front, which means this hand will be at the back, while this hand will be at the front. That's a fake key post for this walking cycle. I'm going to make it a bit snappy for you to understand the first. Okay, that's the first key post. That's key post number one. The key post number two, we are going to take our frame to frame 4, which is the down key post. Okay, we're going to reduce this. Okay, trying to create frame 4, the fourth